All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Big Time Hoops, the podcast. Jumping into men's Division I basketball, UMaine men's basketball. Taylor Schildroth joining us on Big Time Hoops, the podcast. Taylor, first of all, did I say it right? Is it Schildroth? I've heard it pronounced differently.
You got it.
Was I close? Was it good?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Well, what exactly? What is a Schildroth? What is a Schildroth?
It's a great question. A hooper, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know the family history, the family meaning behind it. Like, it's not a common name.
Honestly, no, I have no clue. I actually changed it because my mom. It's my stepdad's last name because my mom had me when she was younger, so I had like my grandparents' last name, and then when they got married, I changed it. So
I like that. We'll just go Hooper. It's a Hooper. Yeah. We'll go with that. Yeah. So we were just talking about before we started recording here. Classes are back in session, but just chill mode, right? Just getting classes done at the apartment, at the room, whatever, and going to practice, and that's it right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty boring, but we're doing what we have to.
Yeah, and you guys have had a little break basketball-wise too. You guys haven't played since almost mid-January, going on a month without games, right?
Yeah. I know we've had some COVID stuff, so we're still kind of waiting to see who's going to be available and what the season brings for the rest of the season, if we get one. But yeah, so it's kind of all up in the air right now.
So what's the deal with you guys? Was it teams you were playing with that had COVID cases, or was it within the Black Bear program itself?
So I think one of the teams we played, they might have had when we played Vermont, there was some stuff. I'm not really sure what went on, and then we got it right when we came back. A couple people in the program, and then we were supposed to play Binghamton. I think Binghamton got it when we were coming back.
Yeah,
when we were supposed to come back. So it's just a mess, and we have guys hurt and stuff too. So yeah, we're kind of trying to figure out where we're gonna go from here. But
what's it like just trying to stay into it? I mean, you talk about ups and downs. Like the season was delayed to begin with, and then I think games were postponed, and then you play a little bit, and back on a break. How do you stay motivated through all this and just continue to want to play? At some point, it's probably human to just be like, all right, I'm good for the year. I'm just gonna take some time, regroup, and come back next year.
Yeah, I mean, we've had 2 to 3 week breaks. I mean, in the last couple months, so it is difficult, but I mean, I like playing too. We've only got to play 8 games, so it's I want to play games and stuff, And when we've been practicing all year, so I guess that's the motivation, just being able to play games, because that's obviously the most fun part.
What do you guys do? Whenever you guys go into a little break like this, do you guys still practice? You allowed to even do anything, or is it pretty much you stuck just in your room quarantine?
Yeah, because technically, if someone in the program gets it, then we all have to isolate for 10 to 14. So nothing.
And then on top of that, how do you stay in shape? Even just basketball is a rhythm game. It's all about rhythm, right? So you take these 2-3 week breaks. How do you stay in rhythm?
And then you don't, because we're not allowed to go anywhere. It's not like I can work out on my own. Can't leave. So yeah.
Whenever you guys actually get to practice, you guys just must be just so happy to finally be there, but also just you got all this built up aggression. You guys just must go at each other in practice.
Yeah, and then everyone gets tired real fast. But yeah, it's fun. Whenever we get back in there, it's just good to be able to see your teammates and your friends and stuff. So.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, just isolation, right? I mean, you guys are apart, and you're taking classes remote, so you're not even interacting with students. So it just sounds very lonely.
Yeah, it is, but we're almost done with it.
Yeah. So what's looking right now? When do you guys have games lined up for sure? When's the next set of games for you guys?
We don't know, because we were supposed to play Binghamton when we got back, and they had a shutdown. And the America East has been scheduling 2 weeks at a time now because of that. So I'm not sure. Honestly.
Right now, do not know right now.
Yeah.
And then the frustrating thing is too, you see the girls, the girls got back to it, right? So they've gotten their games and they went through their little 2 week stretch where they had to shut it down, but it's got to be frustrating to see them do their thing and you guys are just kind of on the sidelines.
Just waiting. Yeah, no, I mean, at least someone's getting to play though. And so, yeah, but it is frustrating when we're just kind of sitting here and all the other programs are practicing and playing, but
yeah. So, I mean, what are you doing for fun? I mean, you've had to have found something to do to freaking kill time around here with as much time as you're spending alone. What have you done during all this? You just had a winter break too. So you didn't even have that. You didn't even have school to keep you busy for a little bit. It's pick up any hobbies? What are you doing to keep busy?
A lot of 2K. I won't lie. A lot of 2K. But other than that, I mean, just luckily, my English classes right now are killing me, so I've been reading a lot of books, so that's been keeping me busy. So I guess that is probably my second hobby, honestly, after like 2K and stuff. But yeah, just keeping up with schoolwork. I'm in a finance class. We talk about the stock market a lot, so I like to kind of keep up with that, do a little paper trading to practice. So that stuff's kind of fun, interests me. But
You got to find something to keep busy, right? Got to find something at least. But your basketball journey, your basketball career hasn't always been what it's been this year, right? So it's been good in the past, but you've been able to get through a full season in the past. Let's go back and find out how we got here. So are you a native of Blue Hill? Is it Blue
yeah,
Hill?
yep,
Okay.
yeah, born and raised all through high school.
Yeah, tell me about Blue Hill because I got a coworker who's from that area and he tells me about it and like I tell him I've never even heard of it. I can't even find it on the map. Like, where is Blue Hill?
I guess you probably like know where Ellsworth is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably the closest point that it's like 20 minutes from there, down on the coast. Really small, couple thousand people, couple hundred kids in the high school.
It's a community high school where you guys got a bunch of schools or a bunch of towns that make up the school, right?
So, yeah, we have a bunch of little towns. Some of those towns have like 60 kids in their school. So yeah, it's small, but
What was your
so that's nice.
what was your introduction to basketball down there? Because I know George Stevens has had a long, proud basketball tradition. So what was it for you? Like, what was your first introduction to George Stevens basketball?
Actually, it was my uncle was on the state team in 2003, and my cousin was coaching it. Matt, obviously, because he coached us too. So like I was always at those games when I was like 1, 2, 3, because when he was in high school and he was a senior when they won. So I think like around that time, and Max was also like right there watching with me. So we were kind of growing up seeing that. And I think that's kind of what motivated us to always want to do
You
that.
naturally gravitate towards basketball, or were you a late bloomer?
I did gravitate towards basketball. I always had the little Tykes hoops and then like an 8 foot one, just like keep working my way up. But I think I was more heavy baseball too. Like I was half and half instead of all basketball until I like broke my wrist in baseball season in like fourth grade. And then after that, I was just like I couldn't play the year, so I was like basketball. That's kind of when it started to take over.
So what do you guys got? What do you guys got for a feeder program down there? I know it's a little bit different in different towns, but what do they do down in that area before you get to high school to kind of get you guys ready?
Yeah, well, we have the little travel programs, and then we usually play in like the YMCA leagues. Like we'll play the Ellsworths, Hamden, Brewer, but like we'll play NBI, all those ones. So they have travel, and then we have our middle school teams play like the other smaller schools around us. So that's you don't really get much from that, but the travel teams weren't bad because we play in all the Class B and A schools around here, kind of. So.
And you mentioned all those different schools that are down there in down east, right? So down east basketball, how would you describe it? Because I feel like different parts of the state, different types of basketball. So what's down east basketball all about?
I don't know. Hard work probably because there's a lot of tough guys down here, a lot of lobster fishermen, stuff like that. So I probably just toughness. You don't always get the most talent out of here, but no one's going to back down.
And it's just a good hoop scene, though, right? You mentioned like some of those schools, but just everyone loves basketball down there, right? It's just a really good basketball area.
Exactly. And it's just everyone. Yeah, the communities are great for basketball. All the like gyms around those areas are pretty packed. Everyone loves it. So,
bunch of small communities down there on the coast, right? You mentioned Lobsterman and stuff like that. I'm guessing you guys are all ultra competitive when it comes to like surrounding towns. So, Blue Hill and that George Stevens Academy community, like who do you guys like look at as like huge rivals? Like what are the surrounding towns do you guys look at with a chip on your shoulder?
I guess like Ellsworth and MDI because they were always B, and yeah, and then those are the closest ones. They were always B, and they always kind of thought that they could like beat up on us, but they couldn't. And Bucksport too, 'cause they were in our class, and Bucksport was a close town. So I'd probably say those three, like for regular season, would be. Even though MDI didn't play after my freshman year, they didn't want it because we were supposed to play Ellsworth MDI every other year, and they stopped calling junior and senior year, so we just played Ellsworth 3 years in a row.
It's probably better they did, right? Probably better that they didn't call because it might have been an L for them. But
yeah. I don't know. I like a lot of those guys. I'm surprised they didn't. Honestly, they won states my junior year, so those would have been great games. That was the year we were supposed to play them.
You mentioned traveling when you were younger, like with some of those surrounding towns and stuff like that. Did you get into AAU at all prior to high school, or
Yeah, I think I started playing Black Bear North in like third or fourth grade, honestly.
Yeah.
Pretty young. And then I moved to Maine Thunder with like Middlestat, Bryce Harmon, Mason Cooper, McDevitt, and Bagshaw, a couple of those guys for like 1 or 2 years. And then I went back in high school. So
you had you kind of knew other kids around the state, even before you got to high school. You kind of knew who were some of the other good kids in your class and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we always played against like Tehran and Griffin and those teams back in like 7th, 8th grade. So yeah.
Good battles or what?
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't even remember everything, but we just used to play so much. They would beat us up, we would beat them. Like, yeah, definitely good battles.
All right. So when you got to high school, I mean, I read I was reading the bio on the website, on the UMaine website, and crazy overall win-loss record. What was it? Only 2 losses over the course of 4 years, 3 state championships. So obviously had a pretty good, okay career at George Stevens. But coming into it at the very beginning, like, what were you thinking? Because I mean, we all say, "Oh, I want to get to high school and win state championships," but you probably weren't thinking it was going to play out the way it did. To be honest, right?
I mean, I have you'd be surprised. I have a letter from my freshman year we had to do in a class that I wrote to myself, and like one of the goals was to win 4. So I had a feeling that like we could, but I mean, obviously we didn't do that. But I mean, yeah, we had a group of guys, like our team, we had a group of guys we had played together for so long. And I think from a young age, we kind of knew that we had like a good chance. So like, and that was our goal, like since kids. So yeah.
So for obviously freshman year didn't work out for you. You set out to go to win 4 state championships and you go 0 for 1 right off the bat. But what do you remember most from that freshman year?
Freshman year was fun. We started out 0-3, and then I think we won like 15 in a row, and then Orono beat us in the first round. But like that, the class was pretty loaded that year, honestly. Like Callis, I think, won that year. They were 1, and we were 2. And then you had like Kyle Bouchard and Holden was 3. And then like Gage Feeney was still at WA, and they were there, and Lee was still good. So that year was pretty good. But yeah, we made a long stretch in the regular season, but once it came to playoffs, Orono got us, and I remember that one sat with me for a long time.
How far did you guys get in the playoffs your freshman year?
That was the first round.
First round. Yeah, so out in the first round as a freshman.
Yep. Yeah, so that one sat with me for a long time.
Yeah. So coming back, obviously you were goal driven and stuff like that. You wanted to win state championships. Yeah. How hard were you actually working back then, like in the off season? Like how hard were you attacking your off seasons to get better? Was it more so just you type just played year round, or were you actually in the gym like getting better?
I was, but not like I didn't know what I was just shooting, and like working on it. Wasn't like I would be now, like when I was a freshman and sophomore. But it was just playing all year round was really what helped the most, I think, when I was younger. And then like I was in the gym and stuff, but it wasn't as serious. Like I wish I could say I would have been a lot better if I knew what I knew now. But
yeah. For anyone who's seen you play, I remember the first time I saw you play, you guys were playing Fort Kent in a tournament game, and I remember hearing the name, like, because I know the coach. She's like, "Yeah, we got to watch out for this Taylor kid." I'm like, "Okay." So I get there. I had no idea what to expect. And you started coming down, like pulling up from like 30 feet and stuff like that. And I was like, who the fuck? What is going on right now? Right? Yeah. So where did the style of play come from? Like, were you always a shooter? Were you a shooter as a kid? Like, did you always have range, or did you kind of just evolve into the player you became?
I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah, like I've always been a shooter, I guess. It wasn't really like that until I don't even know, 7th or 8th grade. I don't know what's wrong with me. I take terrible shots, but I just have to, I guess, I don't know. I just started watching too much NBA, but I mean, I just remember especially at that age, like I just was always so confident, like, and I guess that's just how it came. Of just taking shots and working on it and watching other people doing it and seeing them being able to do it. So it kind of just led to that. But yeah, some of the shots, like you said, 30 feet, like pulling them from 30 feet, it's like you shouldn't be taking that. But
the other thing too that I was impressed with too is like you never really sped up. You always played at your own speed, your own pace, which is something that usually takes a while for people to figure out. So was that a growing process too, like just learning to play at your speed and letting others kind of adapt to you versus adapting to what they're giving you? Like where did that all come from? Not just that overall control and feel for the game.
I think so. That definitely came from AAU, because like AAU obviously is so much faster than like Maine travel basketball, like middle school. So I think struggling in AAU and then having to learn the pace and be able to play at that level. And then obviously when you come back, it comes down a little bit. I think that helped a lot. And I could just once I learned to control the pace at AAU level, it became a lot simpler, like in that level. So
at what point did you just become so confident that whenever you pull like a 30-footer, the coach was like, hey, come on, let's pass the ball? At what point did you just learn to ignore that and just keep pulling from 30 feet?
Well, in high school, probably the end of sophomore year. Probably too soon, but.
So sophomore year, you guys got all the way to states. What do you remember marching through the actual tournament? Because it's one thing to get to the tournament. It's another thing to actually march through it, play multiple games, and just the pressure that continues to build and build. So what do you remember most from that first state championship run and just marching through the tournament?
Actually the Northern Maine game against Bucksport was really good. They got up 10-0, I think 12-0, like in the we didn't score for like 6.5 minutes in the first quarter. And I just remember that because the first two we played Skank in the second round, and that they had Justin Thompson, so they were pretty good.
Yeah.
But the first two weren't as tough, and then Bucksport was the first team in a while that like kind of punched us in the mouth. So I think that beginning of that like helped us build the run. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it helped us learn how to face adversity and stuff. But I think the Bucksport game stood out to me the most because like I just remember looking at my teammates' faces and everyone's freaking out and stuff. We're like, we haven't scored in 7 minutes and that's never happened to us. And then we found a way, and it was ugly and low scoring, but we battled back. And I think that kind of helped us for the next 3 years. Like we knew even if we were down, like we were good enough to come back and stuff like that.
Who'd you guys play for the state championship sophomore year?
Waynfleet was a good game too. They had some good guys.
Was that down in Augusta or was that in Bangor?
That was in Augusta, yeah.
So what was it like going on the road? Different environment, you know, it's a different field, definitely a different field compared to the insurance center in Bangor. So
yeah.
Was it like playing down there in Augusta for a state championship?
No, I was nervous. I was definitely nervous. Honestly, it's funny because I always remember we were losing, and like I was still nervous and like playing kind of soft. And then it was like the second quarter, and one of the kids was like to his teammates, and I heard him. He was like, "Oh man, this kid's not that good." And I was like, and at that point, I was like, "Yeah, he's kind of right now." And that was kind of like what set me off, and we ended up, you know, doing what we did. But yeah, Augusta's court is a lot different from the cross center. The old bright like stands, and then the cross center is like dark and all it's new and stuff. So it's definitely a different field, but I like playing there. Honestly, we played there a few times in some like a warm-up practice or before that. So
yeah,
we got used to it.
How does George Stevens celebrate state championships? What was the state championship celebration like once you guys brought the gold ball back home?
We have like a little mini parade around Blue Hill. They do the fire trucks and stuff. I think a lot of towns do that. So that was always fun. We got in a bus and then just, the fire escort around town for 20 minutes. And then everyone goes back to school, do a little lunch. And
that's it? Yeah. That's it, huh? I thought that would be more than that.
I mean, actually, we went to the state. I think most teams that win states go to the state house too. Yeah. So we did that. But yeah, just the parades, nothing, you know.
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Not like Tom on the boat parade.
So clearly you had ambitions and goals of playing beyond high school, playing in college and playing at a high level. At what point did schools come looking? I mean, you played AAU, so you probably got some exposure there, but at what point where schools was giving you looks and were you starting to like really weigh what you wanted to do, where you're going to go, stuff like that?
I mean, it took a while, honestly. I mean, you know, like for a lot of Maine kids, it takes extra for coaches to kind of believe in it. But so, yeah, it took a while. And then in junior and senior year, like I was talking to like a ton of D3 schools and some D2 schools, and I had never got an offer, honestly. So that's why I went and played prep. But yeah, so I think like junior, senior year is when it started to pick up. And then I never really just found something like the place I wanted to be at. So I figured I would go prep because I kind of knew I always wanted to come back here.
Yeah.
At the same time. But yeah, junior, senior years when it kind of started to pick up, I guess.
What kind of streak did you guys go on? Because I know you only lost a handful of games in high school. So win a state championship sophomore year. Did you just win a ton of games junior and senior year?
Yeah, I think, junior year we were 22-0. So we won 6 or 7 games before that. So it was like 20, I think 30 maybe was like our longest. Because then my senior year, we lost our first game of the year. But
Who'd you guys lose to senior year?
Lee.
Oh,
They
shit.
smacked us. Actually, we lost by like 18.
It was that hangover. It was that 2 straight state championships, and you go
I
into
guess
Lee.
so. Yeah, I guess so.
And that's got to be a pretty shitty bus ride too, from Blue Hill up to Lee.
Gosh, yeah, it is, especially after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you mentioned some of these schools, but you guys play a good schedule, right? So I mean, there's a lot of talented Class C schools, and I'm guessing you played most of them during the regular season, right? So it wasn't like it was a cakewalk. It wasn't like you guys were just playing bummy teams. You guys were playing some good teams.
Yeah, we're playing some all right teams. I wish like they changed the classes up in my sophomore year, so a lot of the, like Holton's and some other like schools around the edge moved up, and we didn't get to play them until my senior year. But yeah, I mean, there were some good teams for sure.
So clearly, people know who you were, especially coming around junior year, senior year. They know the names. So whenever you're on the road, you're probably getting it from some of these student sections and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
who are some of the more ratty student sections? Did they ever cross the line, or was it all in good fun?
No, it didn't cross the line. It was all fine. But I think Ellsworth was always good. They were big, and because like Bryce and I were friends too, and everyone kind of knew that, so like they would give it to me a little extra because like they knew me too. So Ellsworth was always good. Bucksport was usually pretty good. I'm trying to think. Even actually, honestly, we went to Callis one time. The Callis one was taunting. Like they were saying some good stuff. So I was like, all right, like those were good ones.
You get more excited for big road games or big home games?
Road.
Yeah.
I like being the bad guy.
Okay. So marching back to a state championship game your junior year, did you feel any added pressure, like going back to back, like, or were you just more comfortable at that point, having won it the year before? What was it like going for that second one?
The second one definitely was, I think, the most pressure because like by the third one we had done the back to back, so like we didn't have to do that. But yeah, the back to back was probably the most pressure. Plus, Winthrop was a really good team, and so we knew that was going to be a good game. And yeah,
you're undefeated, right? I mean, you were undefeated all the way up to the state championship game. So
yeah, I think both of us were 21-0. Right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we were down by 9 in the third quarter, and Max fouled out, and like so. Yeah, it was a really close game, really tough game, and obviously Jared Chase hit that shot, the game winner, so saved us there. But yeah, Winthrop was a good team, and I think that was definitely the most. Maybe I don't know, like nervous, but at the beginning, nervous. Yeah, I guess I would say nervous before because it was a big deal to try to back it up.
Was the celebration any different the second time around, or was it less fun? Like same thing?
It was more fun. No, it was more fun because I mean we also felt great. Jared was a senior, obviously he'd been there for long, so and him being able to hit a shot like that, it was definitely more fun getting back to back, and we knew that Winthrop was a better team than Waynfleet probably, and we're just really good. So that was more fun.
So coming back for your senior year, you mentioned losing your first game, so you don't have to worry about going undefeated at that point, right? That's out the way. So that's not that much pressure to deal with. But going for 3 straight, everyone's gunning for you guys. Mm-hmm. There may be, maybe taking the foot off the gas a little bit just because you guys haven't really been challenged in a while. What did you do to stay motivated that senior year, like collectively and individually? Because I mean, winning 2 straight state championships is impressive. Going for a third's got to be a little daunting and just a little bit tiring too, I would think. So how did you guys stay motivated throughout that?
I mean, honestly, think it was a good thing that Lee beat us probably because that was like a wake-up call that kind of like made us remember that we weren't untouchable or, that we could lose on any given night. So I think that was big, just remembering that we're not way above everyone else. So we got to stay humble and keep working. But I think by the third, it was like the least nervous because I think we had so many of the same guys and we were just confident in each other. And like we knew at the end of the day that most likely like we were good enough and had been through it enough, like enough experience that we knew we should get it done. So I think that kind of kept us going.
And then I got to ask you about the 60-point game, 60 or 62?
61, actually.
61. Okay. And who was it against?
Lee.
Oh, it was against Lee. So was it senior year or was it junior year?
Junior year.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that would have been a nice way to respond back to in senior year. But all right. So talk to me about the
No, they
61
responded
point
to
game.
me actually with a win.
So talk to me about the 61 point game. That's 15 points a quarter, which doesn't sound too crazy, but I mean, it's a lot of points. So at what point did you know you had it going?
Well, I had 27 in the first, so that was the best quarter. It was obviously all down from there, but I mean, I think they started out in a 2-3 zone, so I got a couple of easy just spot up threes, and like usually the first three don't go. You like 1 for 3, 2 for 3, but I hit the first few, and I think I mean I think I had 7 threes in the first quarter. The first quarter was bonkers. So yeah, that's like by that time I was like I had a feeling that I could probably do what I don't know. At that point I was thinking like 40 or 50. But yeah. I think the first quarter was the best one for sure.
Yeah. So how much did you have at halftime? Do you remember how much you had at halftime?
Yeah, so I had 36. I picked up my second foul and sat he took me out the last 4 minutes of the 4.5 minutes of the second quarter.
4.5 minutes of the second quarter you came out?
I played 26 and a half, I think, total that game. Because I came out the last couple of minutes of the game too. So
At what point were people just feeding you? Because I mean, at some point, your teammates got to be like, "All right, yeah, like let's just give it to them. Let's just keep giving it to them." Like, at what point were they just like, if you pass them, they just like give it right back to you? At what point was that happening?
By the third, because like I didn't really know after half because I sat too. So I was like, I didn't really know after halftime if I was gonna like really keep it going. And then I think I must have just hit my first few shots in the third and got to like 42 or 43. Like kind of early, and then at that point they were like, yeah, let's. They just kind of every time they wanted to just see if I would like keep making it or whatever. But yeah, I mean that was crazy. The net was like this wide.
Were you aware of like any like what the school record was or anything like that, or were you just going for it? Just
I think once I got to like high 40s, it was Matt, the assistant coach, and he had like 52. And because they took me out at one point and he was messing. He's like, I'm not putting you back in. But I think he had like 52 or 53 before that. So,
all right. So 61 points. How many bad shots did you throw up?
Probably quite a few. If I had to guess.
Well, and was there any like that? Did you throw up any ridiculous shots, like 35 feet, just come down?
No, honestly, no. Actually, I wasn't. Surprisingly, I was pretty locked in, and I think I was like 12 for 20 or 12 for 21. I'm sorry, no half court pulls or no LaMelo half court pulls or anything like that, but nothing too crazy.
You get anything from that game to keep as a memory? Like, do you get the ball or anything like that?
Do I have? No, I didn't. No, not the ball. They gave me like a little. They ended up gave me a little plaque or something, but no, I didn't keep the ball.
That's crazy. Is that game out there? Is that on YouTube somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna have to do something with that. Afterwards. All right. So 61-point game, 2 state championships, going for a third. The march to a three-peat. Any challenges, or was it pretty smooth sailing for you guys all the way through?
The playoffs, our senior year, the playoffs were the hardest one because Holton somehow was the 8th seed. So that was our quarterfinal game. And Holton was good my senior year. So that was a good game. That was the best quarterfinal game besides my freshman year, obviously, that we had. And then I'm trying to think. When we got to states, like Halldale was pretty good too. And so, but I mean, it's not like it was a cakewalk, but it's looking back, like we knew, like we kind of just knew, like that the only team that could beat us was us. Like it had if we didn't perform or if we got too comfortable, something like that.
Any of the three mean more special than the other, or are they all pretty sweet? They come as a three-peat, right? It comes as a trio.
Yeah, I don't know actually. When people ask that, it comes as a trio. It's just, and if it was 2, then I would be just as happy with those 2. But yeah, I think I can't really. I don't know. I don't think one's more special than the other.
Is it more fun to win in Bangor or down in Augusta? Because Augusta kind of be like a road game.
Yeah, Bangor. Bangor's nice. I like Bangor a lot. Usually more people from our area come also. So
got a ton of wins in Bangor. You mentioned you went the prep route. So at that point, was it more so you just we're shooting for, I want to go play at a higher level, you know, I'm getting some D3 looks, but I think I can do better? Or was it you just wanted some more time to kind of work on yourself, on your body and your game? What was the thought process with going prep for a year?
It was definitely a little bit of both, because I definitely wanted to try to get a offer somewhere, or like see if I could just play at a higher level, because that was always my goal. But I think, and yeah, definitely knowing that my body definitely wasn't, which it still isn't, but definitely need to know my body and work on my game and stuff, and try out some different competitions, see if that would help. But yeah, that was kind of the thought process behind that.
And then wound up back here at Maine. So playing for Coach Barron, who I think you just taken over. He might have been there for a year before you got there, right? So
yeah, 1 year.
What's it like playing for Coach Barron, and what kind of program was he building up? Obviously, we know what he did with the girls program, and now he's trying to do it with the boys program. What can you say for just the culture of the program, where the program's going? What was it about? Was it just you wanted to come home, or was it something about Maine that you wanted to come play at Maine?
I mean, well, I didn't really know what the culture was about, but I did want to come home. But I'm glad I chose here, because Barron he's a great coach, smart, one of the smartest basketball minds, like a little bit too smart for us sometimes. But no, but he's smart. And obviously seeing like what he did with the women's program and how they are now, like knowing that he can do that with us, and it's really up to us, like buying in and stuff like that. And he's trying to build a tougher culture. Obviously it's been rough for as many years as I can remember, a long time, but so he's trying to turn that around and have like kind of toughness and integrity be at the center of that. And I mean, we're getting there. It's obviously a long journey, and then this season is just a mess, so it doesn't help either. But I definitely think we're going in the right direction, and I'm excited for the next couple of years for sure.
So we mentioned about how you played so many games in the Insurance Center in high school, right? In a packed gym. Then you come to Maine and you play in an empty gym at the Cross Insurance Center, because like you said, the program's getting there. You guys are building up, and you guys are trying to work towards a higher level of excellence, which I'm positive it'll get there. But what's that like, going from playing in a packed house, you know, chasing state championships in a packed Cross Insurance Center, to maybe like 500 to 1,000 people in the stands for home games? So like, well, what's that like?
It's definitely different, and it definitely makes me hungry to make us better, because like you want people there, you want it loud and stuff like that. So it's definitely a motivator for sure, because I mean, everyone wants people in the games. And then now this year, obviously everything's empty, so it's kind of the same. But yeah, it was definitely different than what high school is like, for sure.
What's been the biggest area of growth from your freshman year to sophomore year? Because you gotten some starts this year, right? So getting more minutes in the rotation. What's been the biggest area of growth that's contributed to that for you?
Just letting the ego go, not having to be the guy, and yeah, I mean, and just buying into the program, like and having fun with it. Because I know, like last year, I knew I wasn't gonna play, and that it was gonna be difficult. But still, when it happens for the first time, like, damn, this sucks. Like, so I think last year was definitely a challenge, and having to grow through that, and then realizing that thinking about the team first, and like my teammates and brothers, like actually benefits me too. Like, and I just started trying to think that way more, and doing what I can to help. And then it did obviously work out, and I got to have a couple starts. So
yeah. So what kind of advice would you give to kids right now that may be in a similar situation where they're not getting minutes at the edge of the bench? You know, you went from being the man and putting up 61 points at 3 straight state championships to having to kind of start over and earn a role. Like, what advice would you give to someone kind of in a similar circumstance where they don't know if they're ever going to get in there, or they're not going to make it? You know, what advice would you give them?
Well, the first thing is it's not going to come if you're not like putting in the work, obviously. Like, you got to be doing that. And the second thing is like, you got to be able to figure out like how to put other people first, and realize that somehow that comes back to you and actually helps you, like, you know, and just putting the team first. But just don't get down on yourself, because I mean, obviously it's tough. Like, everyone wants to be playing the whole time, 40 minutes, scoring the points, but it's, at the end of the day, there's only a couple guys that can do that, really. So you have to realize that, and then just sticking with it and keep putting in work, and keeping your head down and just doing what you can to help the team, and then it'll come back to you.
How do you feel about moving forward here with this team? Because obviously there's been some bright spots in terms of players coming in and stuff like that. So what can you say about the men's program and what can you expect? Because you're going to have, at least 2 more years eligibility, maybe a third. Are you going to get an extra year?
I will have 3. Yeah, I got 3.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to be like 25 at that point. I'm not sure about that. But no, I'm excited. And we're getting some more, like, there's obviously more main talent. Like, you made a post about it. There's 4 of us. So that's nice too. And I think it is headed in the right direction. It's going to take work though. Sometimes we get a little complacent and we think that since we're saying it's going to do that, it's going to happen. But the more we figure out this starts with us and just grinding and putting in the work, I think it can change because we have the right staff and people around us to do it. So.
And talk to me about the America East Conference.
Yeah, what's it like? We're in the right league too.
Yeah, so I mean, it's obviously it's not a Power 5 conference, but it's competitive, right? So I mean, you got some very good teams at the top, and it's kind of good throughout. What's it like this grind of college basketball conference play? What can you say about the America East?
It is a good conference. Yeah, like you said, like there's the top few teams are really good, and then a lot of those guys ends up transferring, going other places. But I think it's just like a really high level AAU almost. So it's like that's why I think that we have room, like obviously like there's room for us to grow and win games. But no, the conference play is tough, especially when you go back. This year we were going back to back every weekend. But yeah, conference play, it's tough, but it's fun because, like, obviously those games mean way more. And when you're going other places, their crowds are usually bigger too. So it's just like, it's fun. And then knowing that you always have a chance to make it to the tournament if you just get out of your conference, that makes it fun too.
Playing back-to-backs and poor conditioning because you guys can't practice for weeks at a time. Like, it's got to be tough. Like, those actual games you guys get in, like, it's got to be a grind, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had one game against NJIT. I played like 37 minutes, and I have not played 37 minutes in a long, long time. And we were out of shape. So it's like, so yeah, that was definitely, that was tough. But yeah, you just got to stick with it. It's like AAU. I mean, we used to play, like 7 games in 2 days. So if we could do that back then, we got to stick with it.
It gets harder. I'm telling you, like once you get to be like, you mentioned like being 25 and still playing and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, like once you get out of college and you start playing like in these men's league tournaments where it's like 4 games in 2 days, you're going to be hurting so bad. It only gets worse. It only gets worse.
Yeah. Well, I remember Noonan. I did Noonan a couple years ago. I was like, damn, like, yeah, after the weekend, I was feeling it.
Yeah. You got a bunch of international kids on your team. What's it like having international students? Just different vibes, different backgrounds, just being exposed to that. Because I mean, obviously in Maine, where it's a very similar like kind of culture. But you get to college and you get these international kids. So what have you learned from your teammates? Some of these international kids.
Honestly, I love it. In Florida, I had a lot of international teammates too, and just being with them and interacting and learning from them and like picking up on the lingo. Just being around it, like it's fun because you just get stuff from so many. I mean, we have like 8 different countries on our team, so you just get to kind of pull from all of that and like make those connections. But no, it's definitely fun, and yeah, just like hearing them interact sometimes, like if they're from the same country too and they start going really fast, I guess it's funny. But.
So you're at a position right now where a lot of Maine kids want to be. They want to go play D1. They want to play at the highest level. So. Advice time. What advice would you give these kids? Because you took a certain route to get there, but you wound up getting there and hard work's paying off because now you're in the rotation and getting minutes. And it's probably only going to increase from here. So for those kids that want to chase that dream, they want to play Division I basketball. Like what advice would you give to them being from Maine, being from a small town? What would you tell them?
Just don't get discouraged because especially since we're from Maine, our paths probably will be harder. And so whatever route you take, just like be happy with it and stay to the grind and stick to it and just try to stay positive with yourself. Because I mean, like with me, I quit prep school and came here and just started taking classes and like tried out. So it's like all the routes are different to getting there. So you just got to stick with it and believe in yourself and keep putting in the work. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Are you still plugged in with the high school scene right now? Like, do you know who some of these kids are coming up? Like, do you get to play with any of these kids like in the summertime and stuff like that?
Well, not this past summer, obviously, because we were in the middle of COVID. But I mean, following the Instagram page really keeps me caught up with who's still playing. And I know that Cash is probably the one I follow the most right now.
Kid is nice. Kid is super nice. Super nice.
Yeah, he is.
All of a sudden, he's got bounce now. He's dunking on people.
Yeah. Except he's bouncy. That doesn't remind me of me. Yeah, except he's bouncy.
So I'm going to get you out of here in a couple of easy ones. You mentioned playing with a couple of different AAU programs and a bunch of kids from all over the state. If you had to build your five and you're included from your time, well, what's your squad going to be of kids from Maine that you went through it with? Who are you going to pick?
My grade or just kind of a couple of years?
Whoever was around at the time.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with Tehran and I 1-2 because we had that backcourt multiple times and that was pretty deadly. Let's see. I don't know. There's a lot of good guys that we played with. I honestly probably put Matt Fleming in there at the 3. Maybe Theo, Nick. Nick is good for one of the bigs. What was that kid's name? Nolan. There's a kid named Nolan. I think he went Cape Elizabeth around my time. He was good. I would say actually I'll go Nick, Theo, and I need another big. Who else? Help me out here. I'm thinking like Jake Godfrey.
This is your squad. I'm not giving you. I want you to hurt feelings. I want people to hit you up afterwards. Like, come on, man.
No. I'll put Jake Godfrey in there too. Okay. For the other big. Or actually, wait, no, hold on. That's disrespect. I'm gonna go Max because he was on my team. Sorry, Jake.
I wonder this question all the time with you on a Maine and stuff like that. Like I'm sure you're in your shoes and fashion and stuff like that. What's it like rocking New Balance? Are you okay with Maine being sponsored by New Balance, or is it tough?
I mean, I like this sweatshirt. It's not bad. I mean, it's not like actually I might get in trouble. It's not bad. I don't mind it. Honestly, the Kawhis are really comfy. So I mean, you get made fun of on the court every once in a while if you start talking trash and like you're wearing New Balances, bro. It's like, all right, my bad. But no, it's not bad. The gear's comfy and it looks fine. So
and it's free, right? Free gear.
And it's free gear. Yeah, free gear. You can't complain about free gear.
Yeah. So you had 61 versus Lee. If you could have had 61 versus anybody, like if let's say you could have picked the game to go off like that, who would you have gone against and dropped those 61 on? And tell me who, and maybe it could be like a primary defender. Like who would you have loved to have scored 61 on?
You are trying to get me to call people out right now. I don't know. I would have liked to, honestly, I would have loved to save it for the Winthrop State game.
Yeah.
I always after that game, I always wanted to try to get like 50 at the cross or something, but yeah, if one of the state game at the cross against Winthrop, since we were both undefeated, that would have been the one.
I thought you were going to say your coach.
Oh yeah, no. I'll let him. He can have his.
Okay. Before we get up out of here, I always give my guests a chance to say the last words. So anything we didn't touch on, anything you want to say before we get up out of here for the people out there?
Actually, I want to say that I think what you're doing is awesome too. The Big Time Hoop site. Especially in Maine, like there's not a lot of stuff like that really at all. And you getting the scores out, the pictures out, videos out of people. I think that's awesome. And it's definitely helping a lot of kids get exposure. And so keep doing what you're doing. And thanks for having me on. I've been wanting to come on for a little while. So
yeah, no, I've been busy. I've been like these scores. Let me tell you that these scores take me like an hour at least every morning. And now we're doing videos and stuff like that. So podcast might go on hold for a little bit to the season's done, but the videos people are getting a lot of kicks out of. So I'm gonna try to keep that going. And like I said, there might be something with the 61-point game. If I can find the video, maybe something coming out with the 61-point game. Real quick for the folks out there that follow the UMaine program, what can we expect? Like I know it's kind of up in the air, but if you had to kind of guess where things are going for the rest of the year, what would you say? Where can people watch all these things?
Well, I mean, hopefully, if we can get back into conference play the next couple of weeks, then all of those games are streamed right on ESPN Plus, and we might be out of shape when we get back, but we're going to be hungry because we've only played 8 games, And I know a lot of us are itching to play. It's been too long. So hopefully in the next week or so we'll find something out. But until then, sure, yeah.
And ESPN Plus, for those that don't have it, that is a good purchase right there. Like that is a good thing to have.
Nice $5 a month. It's
not yeah, I've been able to catch everyone from Maine who's doing like playing D1 basketball. Like
catch all the games.
Yeah. Shout out to Taylor for coming through on Big Time Hoops, the podcast.
Appreciate it.
That's going to do it for another episode here. Make sure you're checking out all the previous episodes wherever you get your podcast. Do me a favor, scroll on down to the bottom. Go ahead and rate the podcast. Give me 5 stars. Let's try to get those ratings up. And we'll be back next week with another Big Time episode of Big Time Hoops, the podcast. See you.